Hello and welcome to another episode of the Lion and Liverbird podcast. This is our Liverpool episode. We'll be talking about the movers and shakers that Liverpool have become in the transfer market, spending cash like a drunk soldier after being like miserly last year. Right. So I think the next 24 to 48 hours, you guys are wrapping up Wirtz and you'll be announcing that. And then Milos Kerkez is lined up after that. And then I think there's a couple of bigger transfer bombs that are kind of been revealed, right? And it has to do with Alexander Isak, right? And we all know Liverpool center forward currently Darwin Núñez. He's not the brightest or the best, and Liverpool wants to replace him. And so I think Isak is the one who's been touted. And with that, I'll give it over to you, Adim. What's going on with the center forward? How much money do you guys have, and how much are you going to spend?
I'm shocked. I don't think John Henry's sleeping anymore. I think he's awake the entire time. There's a lot of unrest at the Boston Red Sox because they have apparently traded one of the best players away. And it's now time for the Boston Red Sox fans to say that this was done to pay Liverpool and build their team. Where we have been the ones who've been crying that,
Yeah.
they've been doing that to the Boston Red Sox. There was also this crazy rumor in between that John Henry's team were in negotiations, I think, to buy the Boston Celtics, which
Hmm.
would have been crazy. This was last year. Like I think both the Red Sox and Liverpool fans would have just taken out this thing like flares and gone up to his house and burnt it down. But nothing of that matter like happened, fortunately. Now regarding the Isak thing, I understand where we are coming from because we need a finished product at the starting uh, front and center. We don't have that in Darwin Núñez. We've seen that project fail. He just does not have the composure in front of goal anymore. I don't think anybody can argue with that. The other issue is obviously the other strikers that we have. Who's the other striker that we have? It's Diogo Jota, who's injured for almost 2-3 months in a year. Innocuously, he picks up injuries, and it's always somehow related to just before a FIFA tournament. I don't know if that's true or not, but you can see why this comes up. Why we want Isak? We've got Wirtz, we've got Salah, we've got good players in Luis Diaz and Cody Gakpo. You add an Isak to the equation, right? And it's just perfect. He's 25. He has an eye for goal. He's adjusted really well to the Premier League, and he's one of the best talents out there. Now, the big question that you rightly asked is, do we have the money for this? Because we've splashing 160 million, including of all add-ons for Florian Wirtz. We're looking at another British transfer record for Isak, so that will be more than this. And that would be insane considering that we didn't sign anybody last year apart from uh, Federico Chiesa, and then we had the goalkeeper, Mamadou. Uh,
Mamardashvili.
Mamadou, yeah. So uh, it just shows how much things have changed at Liverpool. And, with Michael Edwards here, with Richard Hughes here, I think there's surely a lot of calculations being done as to what makes sense and why it makes sense to move for him. I spoke about this last time also, is that I believe we're going for this PSG route where you've got very young players interchanging positions and making it really difficult for the opposition to track them and keep them under wraps. If you've got Isaac, he can move wide. If you've got Wirtz, he can play down the middle, he can move wide. You've got Salah who can do the same thing. We've done that with Luis Diaz. We've done that with Gakpo. You have a team, right, which says that it's Wirtz, Salah, Gakpo, Diaz, and Isak. That could be the best strike force in the Premier League, and they all are young except for Salah. So all of it is good and all of it can be made better, right? Now, the only issue that I see from all this is, will Newcastle want to sell him? There is no pressure or compulsion on them to sell. Sure, they would want to make the most of what they have, but they want to build also, right? They don't want to be a team that always loses their best player and strengthens a rival side. They want to be in the Champions League all the time. I'm sure the Saudi owners want them to win the Premier League at some stage, like Manchester City did. So, and also, I don't think Isak is that kind of player who'll push for a move. Like he doesn't seem somebody who's unsettled at Newcastle. He's never said
Yeah.
anything about wanting to leave. Sure, you
Yeah.
want to play for the best team, but then if you're at Newcastle and you're like, okay, fine, let me stick around for another year and see how things go, and then I'll see what happens. So there are a lot of ifs and buts, but this rumor has gathered steam all of a sudden. Like it was there for a while. We were linked with Isak, but nobody saw the Wirtz deal coming, except for you, it seems. And this Isak thing is really interesting. What you rightly said could also happen is that this could be a smoke screen for the Ekitike one. We could move for Ekitike, who comes in for a little cheaper, and we can say that we were looking for Isak, he's costlier, and he also has an injury record. That is something that's really that could be really problematic because he had to deal with a surgery recently and he missed a few games. So that's my thing. And I just want to wrap off one thing. There's so many coming ins and going outs at Liverpool. So if you look at the list of people who are going out, it could be Andy Robertson, Simicas, our goalkeeper Kelleher, Kwanzaa is being linked to a move to Bayer Leverkusen. Joe Gomez could leave. We could see Luis Diaz leave. We could see Darwin Nunes leave. We could see Diogo Jota leave. And we've seen Trent leave. That would wreck any team because that's, I'm not saying it's a spine, but that's a huge chunk of the team.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, when Arne Slot took over, I think it was Feyenoord in his first season. It was Feyenoord, I believe. Yeah. So for Feyenoord, he took them to the Conference League final and he lost. He lost 8 players after that. They were all sold. So it was a complete rebuild. And he won the league the season after that. So it's not something that Slot isn't new to. He knows how to rebuild a side from scratch and do it. So I think this could be like a reset. We didn't do anything to Klopp's team last season. Now it's time we do something and we build something. So I'm interested to see what happens with this Isak rumor because it opens a lot of doors for us attacking wise.
I think a couple of points. I think just while you were talking about all of this, things started to make sense actually. If we think about like Liverpool's situation right now, if your goal next year is to, compete in the Premier League again, but win the Champions League this time, right? You need somebody who's ready, and Isak is ready, right? And you also have to capitalize on, the last few top years that Salah and Van Dijk and Alisson have, right? Because these are the players who can give you trophies in the next 2 years. So you might as well get the finished product, put them in the team with these guys and help you win more trophies. And the Newcastle thing is very fascinating, right? Because their team is good. Of course, they've qualified for the Champions League, but it's nowhere close to winning either the Premier League or the Champions League, right? They need many more players to be upgraded. And like you said, I don't think they have the financial fair play kind of leeway to do that, to go out and splurge and spend and buy, X number of players to upgrade, right? So in that situation, Isak is stuck in a team that's decent, that's going to probably push for the top four, maybe a cup win, like they won the Carling Cup this year, or Carabao Cup now that it's called. But I mean, I don't think he can stay in Newcastle and expect to win either the Premier League or the Champions League. So that might be motivation for him to leave.
Yeah, so Newcastle will have to do a Leicester to have any chance of winning the Premier League. But that's the point. Like, does Isak want to win more trophies? Does he want to be at the top? And this is something that Liverpool had not done previously. When we last won the Premier League in, I think, 2020 or 2019, we did not build the side. We kept the same side. When we won the Champions League, we went the next season with the same team. I think the only player who joined us was Harvey Elliott after we won the Premier League. So this is the right thing to do. When you're at the top, keep adding more quality players and get rid of the ones that you don't want. We have to be ruthless. We have to make tough decisions. But if this means that we're at the top of the game for a few more years, then be it. So this is something that's really going to gather steam in the coming weeks because we've more or less wrapped up all of our other signings. I would be really interested in seeing one more signing being made. That is a proper defensive midfielder because we've got just attackers right now, right? Kirkes is an attacker. Wirtz is an attacker. Frimpong is an attacker. Isak, if he comes, will obviously be another attacker. We need the defensive stability. It can't be Soboslai and Gravenberg and McAllister doing the defensive duties. I know Endo is there, but you need somebody more, somebody with a little more grit and steel and, younger legs, fresher legs. Maybe Adam Wharton? I don't know. But yeah.
Oh man,
Why not?
that's 100 million player again.
Yeah,
Look at
so,
you. Only shopping like Chanel and Louis Vuitton and all of that stuff.
Hey man, we haven't done this ever. I'm really enjoying this. Like when I say that, oh, wow, we're going to spend 100 million. Oh, fine, let's spend 100 million. It's nothing. He's just won the lottery. Oh, and another player that's been linked with us recently, just to wrap up this section of Liverpool, Mark Gahey of Crystal Palace. He's in the final year of his contract. He's a pretty good defender. And, it would make sense to get him and let somebody like a Joe Gomez or a Jarell Quansah leave because he could do that job. He won't be pushing always for a starting spot, but he could be slowly made into a starter since Ibrahima Konate is entering the last year of his contract. And he's been linked with a move to Real Madrid. They're doing that thing again. So Real Madrid is looking for another defender, and hopefully we don't fall foul of that.
I think Florentino Perez said he has like a really good relationship with Liverpool or something. But in terms of the fans, I don't see that.
I don't know what is he talking about. Every player he's taken away from us, we've been really upset. We wanted Kamavinga. He went there. We wanted Michael Owen went there in really terrible circumstances. He fought to leave for Real Madrid. We've seen Trent obviously do that. So I think we were also linked with Vinicius at one time, and Real Madrid came in and swooped in. So I don't know what Florentino Perez is smoking, but I'll have some of that because we are not in good relations with Real Madrid. And
At least in terms of fans, I don't know what's happening in the boardrooms and stuff.
I don't know. You give us something. Okay, maybe Kylian Mbappe is coming in the summer. I don't know.
No, he's got gastroenteritis, man. I just saw
Oh,
Mbappe's got gastroenteritis, so he's
oh
gonna be
wow.
out for a bit. Yeah.
Oh damn. Damn. But yeah, so that's it for this episode of the Lion and the Liverpool podcast, our Liverpool edition. Should Liverpool go for Alexander Isak? Does it make sense? Should they move for some other striker? And do you think it's over for Darwin Núñez, despite so much support for him? Please comment in the section and let us know. Like and subscribe to our content, and we'll see you next week. Bye bye.
Bye bye.